Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to the video. I hope everybody is having a great morning. So yesterday, all of the Academy teams' rosters were due. They were supposed to be announced. There still are a couple that say to be announced on the website, but some interesting things have popped up, and it seems like Mangachu is on NYXL2, their Academy team, which is very interesting. I know a lot of people were wondering, where the hell is he? Why is he not on an Academy team, let alone an Overwatch League team? So that's great for Mangachu. We'll get into that a little bit. And what is also more interesting about the NYXL2 team is Flower is not listed. There's a lot of rumors going around whether he is signed with the New York Excelsiors main Overwatch League roster and therefore cannot play for their Academy team. If that is so, then why has he been rumored to be playing on this Contenders team for so long by so many people? So we're going to talk about those two things and a little bit of the Contenders. I'm going to talk about my power rankings, who I think are the strongest teams. And guys, Overwatch League is here. Today it is happening. I'm so hyped for that. I'm sure you guys are. So if everybody's excited for the Overwatch League to be back, let's go ahead and drop a subscription on the channel because you can catch all your daily Overwatch League news, updates, stats, signings, power rankings, predictions, all of the good stuff on my channel. We do it every single day. And drop a like on this video and let's go ahead and hop into it. First, we're going to talk about Mangachu signing with the New York Excelsiors Contenders roster. Now, of course, like I said earlier, it is about time Mangachu was signed to something, somewhere, and it is the New York Excelsiors Academy team. This puts the current roster at Adam and Goliath on support, Clone Man 16 on main tank, Midnight on off tank, and then for the DPS players we have Nene and Mangachu. Personally, I'm happy for Mangachu. I definitely believe he deserves to be competing in Contenders, if not the Overwatch League. There's been a lot of people saying, oh, he's just a fair one trick, blah 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 this, you know, he won't be good in the Overwatch League. You can't get into the Owl just maining one hero, specifically Pharah. Now, I beg to differ. I think you could get into the Overwatch League maining one hero, and specifically being Pharah. Pharah is that niche type of hero where you need her on specific maps, and you can basically run her on those entire maps. So in that scenario, we really wouldn't need Mangachu to swap off at all. And let me tell you, from first-hand experience, guys, Mangachu's Pharah is absolutely deadly. From ranked to tournament matches, scrims, I've played him a ton. Mangachu's Pharah is absolutely insane, and I think something people sleep on is his Hanzo, which I'm not going to get too much into, but he does have an insane Hanzo. Recently, he posted on Twitter that he hit rank 1 playing mostly Genji as well, so I don't think this notion of him being an absolute Pharah one trick is very true. I think it kind of sticks with him just because his Pharah is so good. And honestly, I don't think any of his heroes are near his Pharah level just because it is that damn good. But I'm not saying that he isn't good at those other heroes. He can 100% definitely play them at a Contenders level. So joining this roster, I think it makes them much stronger. And now what we need to talk about is, where is Flower? Because they have Mangachu signed, Flower kind of plays the role that Mangachu did play. The Pharah, Genji, soldier type role. The kind of flex role, not the tracer role. So we don't know where Flower is. Is he signed with the New York Excelsiors roster and he can't play in the Academy team? It could make sense because people like Sinatra or Super, who are signed on Overwatch League teams, aren't playing on their Academy rosters. But those players are turning 18 much sooner than Flower is, and Flower won't be able to compete at all this season. So, I don't know. It's really an interesting situation. I don't know what Flower's doing. Maybe he is working with the Overwatch League team privately, filling in as like a player, analyst, coach role. Because I'm sure when you're that good at the game, you have a great mind, and he could definitely help on that level. So, he could be doing that, but again, I have no idea. I don't know where Flower is. Could he have potentially left the New York Excelsior and be joining someone else? That is also an option. Probably not, because he still has it in his Twitter handler, and he has basically been with the LW Blue, LW, NYXL organization, and all those people for a long time. So it would definitely be interesting seeing him leave. But then we have players like Rascal and Fisher, who are also leaving their team, who was Kongdu in London for their entire careers. Now they're moving over to, Dallas Fuel and the Los Angeles Gladiators. You never know what could happen. I mean, if Flower were to sign with another Overwatch League team, that would definitely shake things up. We basically have one of the best players in the entire world. He could honestly improve any roster. Just imagine him going to the San Francisco Shock, where they really do kind of lack on that type of Pharah Genji player. He could really help them improve. Same with Florida Mayhem. And honestly, Libero and Pine have really been filling in those roles very well for the New York Excelsior. So they could have sold him for a huge amount of money. Like I said, it is definitely a possibility. More than likely not, but you never know. So where's Flower? Congratulations to Mangachu being signed to NYXL2 Academy. Really happy for him. I think he's going to do big things with them. And now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about my power rankings for contenders. I don't want to get too much into it since it is a little bit early and we don't have two of the teams from trials, but I'm going to go ahead and list in order the strongest to weakest teams in my opinion. So let's just start from top to bottom. At number 10, we have Florida Mayhem's Academy roster. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. Some of their players are questionable pickups. They have a couple decent players here and there, but just a team overall that I think will be lacking from support, whether it's from the coaching staff or organization. At number 9, we have Simplicity. Now this is another easy-ish one for me to put them at the bottom, simply because I think they're going to lack in that support in staff, organization type stuff, as well as the Mayhem. That, as well as I think they do have some alright players here and there. Ginger Pop is good, KSF is good. There's kind of a reason none of these players made it onto the Academy rosters. They were kind of passed down, and we'll just have to see. So if I were to put this in tiers, I think Mayhem and Simplicity would be in tier 3 by themselves. Moving on to the next tier, at number 8, we have Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies actually have a pretty good roster, and they do have some subs. And I do think they're all getting in a house in Montreal, so that is going to be a nice advantage for them. So I definitely look out for the Grizzlies. I think they can improve, but they probably are at the bottom of tier 2. Moving on to number 7, we have Envision. Some of you guys might be surprised at Envision being this low. I'd put them this low because some of their performances in the pit and in the beat just weren't that great. They've been losing to trials teams here and there, and they don't really look like a powerhouse at the moment. So we'll just see how they can do. Moving on to number 6, we have Optic Academy. The Optic Academy has a very big roster, and if everything comes together perfectly, these guys could be really good. But that's if everything comes together perfectly. They definitely have a lot of players that they want to place in certain positions, but I don't know if it'll work out exactly how they want it to. Of course, this is where it gets hard because a lot of these teams are very good. It seems like they have good support staffs backing them, so it's definitely hard at this point. So moving on to number 5, we have the Gladiators Legion. I think these guys have a lot of raw experience, and that experience could really carry them far, but I don't know exactly how far it can get them because it does seem they might be lacking a bit in mechanical skill. That being said, Panker and Corey are still very good, and they could help this team become one of the best. Moving on to number 4, which is where we kind of start to enter the tier 1, maybe top of tier 2 area, we have Toronto eSports. I think Toronto eSports has some really good DPS players, probably the best the West has to offer outside of the Overwatch League, Nero and Dalton, and then they have picked up some really good tanks. We're waiting for them to announce a couple more players, so we'll just have to see who their flex tank and support player are. But they're looking pretty good. Moving on to number 3, I think this is where we definitely get into tier 1 area. We have the NRG roster. I think these guys picked up some of the best players outside of the Overwatch League. They got Damon and Butcher, who were both from Kongdu. They competed in multiple Overwatch Apex seasons in Korea. So they are two of the most experienced players in the entire contender scene. They also picked up Fozix, who has a lot of experience competing with Envision. He's shown that he could be a great shot caller. Rob420 from LG Evil, Smex. They have a lot of really good talent on this roster, and I think they could do very good if it all comes together right. Moving on to number 2, we have NYXL2 Academy. It was really hard ranking these last two teams because they both have really good rosters, and I've seen them perform at really good levels. So of course, not knowing if Flower is on this roster would have an impact on my rankings. If Flower is 100% on this team, then they could even be number 1. But with him not being on the team, they could drop even to number 5 or 6. So that is definitely a big question mark in my mind and is something that I definitely need to know. But for now, we're just going to leave them at number 2. Like I said earlier, they have some good talent. Mangachu is a great player. Adam is very experienced. Midnight's one of the best flex tanks in the entire contender scene. Goliath is a strong flex support. And then they have Nene, who I believe is going to be probably one of the best players in all of contenders. MVP status with players like Flower. Who are you? I have 2 questions about this team. 1, is Clone Man 16 going to be good enough for this team? Sure, he very well could be a contenders level main tank, but the question is he good enough for this team? Because some of these players are very good, it seems like they should have a really good main tank with them. And then the second question, is Flower playing for them or not? If Flower isn't playing for them, I think they drop under a couple of the teams I listed previously. If he is playing with them, then they could potentially even be number 1. And moving on to number 1, we have the Philadelphia Fusion Academy roster. These guys are insane. Specifically, Who Are You? This guy is an animal. If anybody ever watched Apex, you would know how good Who Are You is. In my opinion, Who Are You is one of the best Genjis to ever touch the game, and arguably could be the best of all time. It's actually crazy to think about. Who Are You, the guy that played on Lunatic High and absolutely destroyed kids in Apex, is coming to North America to play in the contender scene. What? The contender scene in North America is going to get obliterated by Who Are You. And as I said, at a time, he was absolutely the best Genji in the entire world, and of all time, he could be one of the best players that ever touched the game. He's still so young. He's an absolute freak of nature. You pretty much just put him in the game, tell him to play Genji, and he kills everything. That's all. Lock in Genji and go. I mentioned earlier that I do think Who Are You will be MVP status, and I see no reason why he can't carry Fusion to a championship. The guy is so good, regardless if Genji's in meta or not, he will still pick him and he will still kill everything. He is definitely going to be in the Overwatch League when he comes of age, and for now, he is going to tear up the contender scene in North America. I mean, absolutely tear it up. I mean, I could just sit here and talk about Who Are You all day, but of course he does have 5 other people on his team, and he has some really good players with him. Zachary is as well, still very young, and also a very strong player. Mechanically, he was a very good Genji back in Contender Season 1 and 0. He has also shown that he is very capable of swapping to heroes like Diva, Tracer, Soldier, and doing very well on those. So considering they have Who Are You now, he is going to be the prime Tracer player, and this team is going to have some insane dive skills. They also have Alarm, who competed in 3 seasons of Apex with BK Stars, then was also on Lunatic High too, so you know this guy is going to be insane on flex support. Beast Halo, a solid main tank. Elk, a great shot caller. Kraken Lakin was a very good diva for Toronto eSports. So this roster all around is very good. And the fact that they do have Who Are You and Alarm just really makes them insane. So that's why I think the Philadelphia Fusion will be the best academy team going into contenders. They have a very good chance at winning it all. Of course, we still don't know those 2 trials teams that are going to come in. Hopefully one will be Kingarna. We're working our butts off to get in there, guys. Unfortunately, the Contenders Trials North American games are not being streamed, so if you want to keep up to date on the standings and everything about Contenders Trials, you can follow Team Kingarna on Twitter. Our handler is @team_Kingarna. You'll find a ton of information about our team, Contenders Trials, and other tournaments we are competing in there. And I read some of your guys' comments in my last video, and I'm going to be doing a lot more Kingarna content on my channel. You'll see player spotlights, guides, interviews, pre and post match. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see from our players, and we will do our very best to deliver that to you guys. So those are my power rankings, guys. Let me know how yours compare to mine. Who do you think should be higher? Who do you think should be lower? Also, what do you guys think is going on with NYXL2 and Flower? Is he going to play for them? What is going on? Is he just waiting for the Overwatch League team? How do you think the acquisition of Mangachu will help this academy team? Let me know down below. Oh, and real quick before I forget, a lot of you guys have been asking me for, is Shatter 2K good enough for the Overwatch League? We will do that. I did reach out to him about a week ago, and he finally got back to me, but unfortunately, he did respectfully decline that offer. He said it would be cool if I did make the video on it, though. So I will be working on that. It'll probably come out over this weekend on either Saturday or Sunday. And that is it for the video, guys. Please do, if you haven't already, consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. We do Overwatch League videos every single day, and every subscription counts. It means so much to me, guys. I appreciate everyone who watches my video, comments, likes, shares their opinions. You guys are absolutely the best. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to make this content. And I'm out of here, guys. Follow all my social medias. Team Kingarna's Twitter. Join the Discord. We have an amazing community. The viewing parties are going to be back. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.